What's up, real estate agents? In this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly how to map out your entire real estate process so that you can easily see what can and cannot be automated using AI. I talk to tons of different real estate agents every single week, and the thing that I commonly hear is that they know that they should be using AI in their business, but they don't really know how to get started or what can be automated. So I wanted to create this video showing you exactly how I map out my entire real estate business from the very beginning of all the different marketing that I'm doing all the way to the very end after I help a client buy or sell a home. We're going to be hopping into my computer and I'm going to be mapping out the entire thing in real time with you so that you can follow along and map out your business process as well. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a very clear insight as to all the different tasks and processes that you can automate using AI in your business. Trust me, once you map it out like this and you start to kind of check off all the different things that can be automated, you're going to be blown away with the percentage of your business that can be passed off to AI. And it's going to give you a really clear understanding of the most important things that you should be focusing on, which are basically the things that can't be automated. So without further ado, let's hop into my computer.
So we're hopping into my computer here and I'm going to show you sort of the diagram that I made that will help you break down all the different parts of your business, all the different stages, as well as where AI or automations can be incorporated, and just kind of give you a clearer picture of the entire real estate process and the entire client experience that somebody experiences when they work with you. Now I'm doing this inside of Miro. It's Miro.com if you want to use it. It's kind of just a easy, quick way of sort of mind mapping and drawing out diagrams. But obviously you can do this in anything, in Canva, in Microsoft Paint, whatever program you want to use. Just helps to kind of break it down. You can draw it out by hand if you want. So this is kind of an overview of what the average realtor's process would look like for a new lead / client. Now, maybe for your specific business, there might be other steps that you're going to add in, maybe specific to your brokerage or to your local market, whatever it is. You can customize this however you want. But for this video, I'm just going to show you sort of how I lay it out, either for myself and my own business, or even for other clients who need help sort of laying it out for theirs. So on the very left would be sort of the very first stage of your business, and this is the marketing. So this is all the actual advertising and marketing that you're doing in your business to draw leads into your funnel. After the marketing stage is the inbound lead stage. So this is where a lead has seen your marketing and now they've entered into your funnel. Maybe this is like a lead form, maybe this is them reaching out on Facebook, some way that the lead has actually entered your funnel. Next is your qualifying and nurturing stage. So this is where you're actually engaging with that lead to qualify them or maybe to do some ongoing long-term nurturing in an attempt to convert them into a client. Next stage after that, you probably guessed it, is they have converted to a client. So the lead has now become a client. In this stage might be, them signing documents, you sending them a welcome package or adding them to your CRM, that kind of thing. Next after that would be the listing stage. Obviously, if they're a seller, if they're a buyer, then this would be sort of the showing buying stage. But for the example in this video, we'll just stick with sellers. So this would be the listing stage of actually listing their home, doing the photography, the measurements, all of that, as well as the process of the home actually being listed. Following that would be the pending stage. So obviously once someone has made an offer, you've accepted the offer, what happens in between when the home went pending to when the home went sold. This is the pending stage. And then after that obviously is the sold stage. So once the property has actually been sold, then what happens there? After that would be the possession day, and then the last stage would be post-client. So this might be any communication that you have after they're kind of no longer a client of yours. Maybe this is just keeping them up to date with market values or sending them happy birthday messages, things like that. So this in a nutshell is sort of the high-level overview of what a seller would experience when they go through your entire funnel and hit all the different stages of your client experience. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into each stage and we're gonna break that down even more. What do you do during those stages? What kind of tools are you using? What type of communication are you sending out? We're gonna break it down step by step. And then after that, then we're gonna look at what can be automated or what can't be. So let's start with marketing here. So your marketing obviously is gonna be, the different social media platforms that you're posting on. If you're doing like mailers, flyers, newsletters, door knocking, anything that's getting your name and your face in front of other people would be included here. So let's just start adding a few in. We're gonna say that maybe we post on Facebook. We do Instagram, maybe we do TikTok, and let's say we run Facebook and Google Ads, and maybe mailers. All right, so that is the marketing that we do. I'm just going to consolidate some of this so it's easier to see at a glance. Okay, so that's all of the marketing that we do. Obviously, this is just an example. Yours is going to look different than this, but you get the point. So now we've done all of this marketing. Now, what happens when the lead actually wants to come into our pipeline? Well, maybe we have a lead form that they fill out. Might be just kind of general email of them reaching out. I'll put email/DM for social media stuff. It could be somebody doing a phone call, like from the mailers. And that's probably it for these specific examples, right? Some of these are going to go to a website, which is probably going to have a lead form. Some of them will be email or DM, and the other ones will be a phone call. Now I'm just going to make these all bold so that we know which one is the headings. All right, so that's the process for the inbound leads. Now let's look at qualifying and nurturing. So after a lead has come into your pipeline, now you have their information, whether it's their phone number, their email, maybe their social media account, whatever it is. Now, what does the qualifying and nurturing part of your business look like? Well, let's say that maybe we have a 5-email nurturing campaign. There's probably just ongoing communication happening via email and DMs, right? You're just talking back and forth. Actually, I'm also going to add one here in inbound lead that's going to be text, because a lot of times people just text you. So we'll add that to here as well, ongoing texts. The phone call, I mean, that usually ends up leading to either email or texting afterwards. The phone call is usually just kind of the initial stage, at least for my business, so I don't do constant ongoing phone calls with the same client. So we have all of that. Maybe there's also some market update or property alert emails that get sent out. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The majority of the qualifying and nurturing that happens in my business is either through a nurturing email campaign, through ongoing communication in my emails, in my DMs, and in my texts, or I'm sending people specific emails about, property values, market updates, things like that. So now I marketed to people, I got somebody into my pipeline, I'm qualified and nurturing them. Now they have converted to a client. So the person has actually said, yes, I want you to list my property for sale. So now what happens? Well, we need them to sign a contract. What else? We're gonna send them maybe a seller's checklist. We have to update our CRM. And I'm gonna go back and also add that here as well, and here. Now I know you might be watching this and thinking like a lot of this stuff is common sense, or it's very sort of minuscule details. Do I really need to add that in? The more you can break down your systems, the more specific you can get, the more you're gonna see what you can automate and where you can use AI to sort of streamline your processes. Because a lot of times when it comes to automations and AI, it's not the really big picture stuff, it's the small things, the repetitive, monotonous tasks that take 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, an hour over there. But when you combine that over, a whole week or over 5 clients, that adds up to multiple hours every week that you're saving. So the more that you can break it down, the more you'll be able to show yourself, okay, these 5 little things I'm able to automate. So during the stages of converting them to a client, we want them to sign a contract. We're gonna send them a seller's checklist. We're gonna update the CRM. Maybe we're also gonna do some property evaluation and a market report. And then I'm sure we're gonna send them an email as well explaining the selling process email. Okay, so the person has raised their hand. We're gonna get them to sign a contract, send them the seller's checklist, update our CRM, give them a property evaluation and market report, and send them an email explaining our seller's process. Great. So now we've moved forward, they have signed the contract, everything's good to go. Now we're actually in the listing stage. So what happens here? Well, we probably have to schedule photography and measurements. Okay, so we gotta do that. What else do we gotta do? We gotta make sure the home is ready to list, meaning, you know, check on light bulbs, check that the home is clean, check that there's no damages to fix, things like that. We might want to schedule an open house ahead of time and start getting the word out for that. We might also want to get some marketing material made up, like brochures or QR codes, things like that. Obviously, we have to actually list the home on the MLS. We're also maybe going to promote it on social media. We have to order lawn signs to go up. Okay, so that's probably good. Now, those are just the things that happens preparing it for listing, but we also have while the listing is live, which is going to be sending the seller showing reports, right? So maybe every week or every few days, you're going to send them a report saying how many showings were at the property. When offers come in, you're going to be analyzing offers and presenting them to the seller. And you're going to have ongoing marketing as well if the home doesn't, you know, immediately sell. Okay, so that kind of breaks down the listing stage. Now we're going to go to the pending stage. So somebody has given you an offer, you've accepted the offer, now you're pending. So now what happens? Well, probably the first thing you're going to do is you're going to send the seller a congratulations email, right? Saying congrats on accepting the offer, here's the next steps, blah, blah, blah. After that, you're going to be sending all documents to mortgage and lawyers. Again, this might vary depending on what state or country or province you're in. Where I'm from, all the documents get sent to the mortgage advisors and the lawyers to handle their stuff from there. You also are going to want to update the status on the MLS to pending. You might want to post about it on social media. You might have to send in your documents to your brokerage, and you're going to update your CRM. I keep forgetting to add update your CRM to all of these, but I mean, realistically, your CRM should always stay updated with every stage. So I'm just going to add these in here. All right, so that is the pending stage there. So now we're going to go to the property sold status. So this is after the buyer has, you know, waived their conditions and moved forward with actually purchasing the home, but before possession day. At least in my particular market, the way that the status classifications work is you have an active listing, then once you get an offer and accept it, you are pending, and then once they have waived conditions, it is sold, even though you might not have actually given over the keys. Assuming it's the same in most areas, but I know some are different. Depending on where you're watching this video, if you're from a different country or something, it might be different. So once the property has officially been sold, obviously we are going to send another congratulations email. I'm going to say congratulations email and reminder. So we're going to remind them about, you know, canceling your utilities and switching your mailbox number over and all that kind of stuff. We are also going to order a gift basket for delivery. We are going to send the final docs to the lawyers. We're also going to submit final docs to the brokerage. We're going to post on social media that another one is sold. Maybe we're going to put a sold sticker on lawn sign. We also are going to order the lawn sign to come down ahead of time. Most agents kind of leave it for a week or so, or leave it until possession day, but you want to order that ahead of time so you don't forget. And then of course we are going to update our CRM. Okay, now possession day has come. What's going to happen on possession day? Well, we need to hand over the keys. We're going to send one final congratulations email to the seller. We're also going to send a thank you email to the other agent. This is just good practice to say, hey, great working with you. Thanks so much, appreciate it. You might even want to ask for a review here. A lot of agents forget is you can ask other agents for Google reviews. You don't have to just ask your clients. That's a great way to get more Google reviews, is by sort of tit for tat. They give one to you, you give one to them. And then of course, we're going to update our CRM. Great, so now the buyer has moved in, the seller has moved on, maybe they moved to a different home, whatever it is. That deal is completely wrapped up. But our job is not done. We can still do further communication with that client. We can still nurture them. We can still keep them up to date with, home values. If they move to a different neighborhood or something, we can send them happy birthday emails. We can, do a lot of different things. So post-client stage, what are we doing here? We are going to send market updates. We're going to send happy birthdays and Merry Christmases. I'll just put Merry Xmas. Maybe we'll also send an email to leave a Google review. Actually, let's do send a text to leave a Google review. It's a bit more personal. And maybe like once a year or twice a year or something, we want to ask them for referrals. Okay, so that, I'm gonna zoom out here because the listing stage is so large. This is sort of the entire overview of what our process looks like, broken down into detail. Now, I'm sure I missed a few things here. The beauty about having this kind of digitally on a board like this is you can constantly go back and edit it, add things in, remove things, tweak your systems and your processes. And when you're looking at it from a high level like this, you can really see, maybe where you're missing, where your gaps are, where your system is broken or could be improved. So now that we've broken this all down, let's go in and look at what can be automated and what can we use AI for. So if you have no experience automating anything or using AI, then you're probably thinking, I don't even know how to determine if something can be automated or if I can use AI for this. I have no idea. So I'm going to tell you sort of the main rules of how to determine if something can be automated or if AI can be used to do that specific task. So I'm gonna put a little list here. We're gonna make this list like a sticky note, and let's start. Now, as I'm writing these sort of rules, it's important to note that the thing that you're looking at doesn't have to hit all of these different points. It just has to hit some of them, and these points will just kind of help you understand whether it's something to even look into as to whether it can be automated or not. So the first one is going to be, is it repetitive? A lot of times if something is repetitive, it means it can be automated. So if you're doing the same process every time that you're doing this specific thing, then it can probably be automated. For example, every time that you get a new buyer in your CRM, are you sending them pretty much the same email and maybe just swapping out, their name or their neighborhood or something like that? If you are, then it's repetitive and you can figure out a way to automate that. Number two is going to be, is it digital? This is an important one because anything that you're going to automate or use AI for has to be digital, because that stuff happens in the digital world, right? You can't use AI to automate, door knocking. Like, that has to be a physical person, not a digital thing. So number two is going to be, is it digital? Number three is it time consuming? Now, there's a lot of things that aren't time consuming that you can still automate, but the things that are the most time consuming are probably where you should first focus your attention, because you're trying to save yourself the most amount of time possible. So start with the things that consume the most amount of your time and then work your way back from there. And then number four is going to be, does it require a specific software or tool? Meaning, is the task that you're doing inside of a specific tool and you can't do it anywhere else? Like, maybe you're getting a list of properties from like PropStream and you can't get that list anywhere else. You have to get it inside of that tool. If it does require a specific tool, then you just need to take an extra step and look into whether or not that tool allows for integrations and automations. Now I'm going to talk about that more later in this video and show you how to figure out if your tool can be integrated with. But number 4 is also an important one because something might hit on all of the other 3. It might be repetitive, it might be digital, and it might be time consuming. But if that specific tool that you must use doesn't allow for integration, then you might be out of luck. So keeping these 4 things in mind, now we're going to go look step by step and figure out what can be automated and what cannot be automated. Now, in order to keep this sort of visually simple, we're going to do this. So anything that I change to red means that it cannot be automated. Anything that I change to green means that it can be automated. Okay, so we're gonna go along and we're gonna change all of these different boxes into either red or green. So let's start with marketing. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok posts. So social media in general, can this be automated? Well, maybe not the entire thing, right? If you're gonna take a picture of your dog, that can't really be automated, but the actual posting and writing captions and doing the hashtags, all of that can be automated. So for these things, yes, they can be. So we're going to make all of these green. And I do have another video showing you how you can create a social media automated posting system. Facebook and Google Ads. Can this be automated? Yes and no. There are tools that claim that they can, create really great ads for you. I think that it's important for most business owners to operate their own ads in some way, or at least have, some sort of foot in the door with their ads so that they know what's going on, how many people are seeing their ads, what's their cost per click, that kind of thing. But there are still a lot of other ways that you can automate this stuff, right? So you can automate the actual analytics part of it, just getting sent to you every day or every week. You can automate the copy that's being written for the ad itself, have AI write that for you. So this is something that can be automated as well. And again, automating it doesn't mean that 100% of it is taken care of. It might mean that 90% of it or 80% of it or even just 50% of it has been automated, but that's still 50% that you don't have to do anymore. Now mailers is not digital, right? It's something physical. So is this something that can be automated? Well, again, parts of it could be, for sure. You could have AI come up with the list of addresses, things like that. However, in my experience, there's so many other tools out there that make creating mailers super, super easy. They already have templates, they already have address lists, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna leave this one. For my business, I don't think it's worth spending the time to create an automated system for this when it really isn't gonna save me that much time. Maybe your business, you do tons and tons of mailers, like thousands every single week, and maybe it is worth your time. But for mine, I'm gonna put no, we're not gonna automate that. Now let's go to inbound leads. The lead form, that is definitely something that can be automated in terms of extracting that data from the lead, putting it into your CRM, writing them custom emails based off what's on the lead form, all of that. Emails and DMs, absolutely, this can be automated. You can have an AI agent answering your emails and qualifying people in your emails. You can also have an AI agent in your DM inboxes, responding to people and qualifying them there. Now, phone calls, this can be automated for sure. There's AI voice agents out there that can answer the phone and qualify and do all that. Personally, for my business, I would rather just answer the phones myself, because if I'm automating all the other stuff, if I'm automating the emailing, the texting, the DMs, then that frees me up to be able to answer as many calls as I can. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't automate phone calling. I'm just saying I'm not going to for mine because I'm automating everything else. Texting can also be automated as well. You can have an AI agent that is answering your texts for you and updating your CRM like we talked about. That is easily automatable. I don't even know if that's a word, automatable, but you get the point. 5 email nurturing campaign. Yes, this can be absolutely automated. You can do this inside of make.com. There's also a ton of email platforms like ActiveCampaign that will allow you to create email nurturing campaigns and put those on a specific schedule to send out. Communication via email and DMs, just like these ones over here, these can totally be automated as well. One thing that we do at Agent Automation is we build full lead qualifying, lead nurturing systems with AI that, do your emails, your text messages, even your DMs, and automate the process of doing the ongoing qualification questions, nurturing, and all that kind of stuff, while keeping your CRM updated with all the information that is being taken from those conversations. Ongoing texts, yep, absolutely, that can be automated. Market update and property alert emails, that can definitely be automated as well. And updating your CRM, absolutely, this can be automated. There's actually one more that I want to add to marketing, which is newsletters. I totally forgot about that. Newsletters are a really, really great thing to automate. There are platforms out there that make building your newsletter really easy, but there is also a way that you can completely 100% automate your newsletter, where you don't have to write it, you don't have to think about it, you don't have to send it, you don't have to do anything. It just completely on autopilot, sending out every single week for you with market stats and local restaurant highlights and all the kind of stuff that you would normally want to see, real estate news updates, things like that, and it's all on autopilot. If that's something that interests you, then shoot me an email and I can tell you more about that. Okay, now converted to client. What can be automated here? So signing the contract. We obviously can't automate the process of them signing the contract. We can automate some things like filling out the contract. Maybe I'll add one in there. So let me move all of these down, and then we're going to add one, which is write up the contract. Because we got to write up the contract and then they have to sign the contract. Okay, so writing up the contract, can that be automated? You betcha it can. You can have an AI filling in the contract details that you just tell it what client it's for and the listing price and all that, and it can fill it all in for you. Signing the contract, well, that can't really be automated because it's the person on the other end who has to sign the contract, so not that. The seller's checklist that we're sending them, that can definitely be automated and just triggered off of your CRM, or you can even trigger it off of them signing a contract. The way that you would do that, let's say that you use DocuSign, you would just do a simple make automation that would be triggered when DocuSign detects that a document has been signed. And if that document is called listing agreement or whatever your specific listing contract is called, then it would then send the seller's checklist to the email of the person who just signed that document. So you can connect these two things in sequence so that they automate and happen one after the other. Updating your CRM, yep, that can be automated as well. Property evaluation and market report, you betcha. Explaining the selling process email, absolutely. And then updating, I got this in here twice, so let's delete that. Okay, then we got the listing stage here, schedule photography and measurements. Now this depends on what you use to schedule your photography and measurements, right? There's some companies that have very easy to use like apps. Like my photography company is just an app that you can just put in the details and that's it. Other ones are a bit more old school and you have to just email them to set up an appointment. So this just depends on what the company is that you're using, what their system is like. I'm going to say that we're not going to automate this because the company that I use, it's a mobile app and you can't integrate with it. So we're not going to automate that. Ensuring that the home is ready to list. Well, you can't really automate that either. You kind of could, but most of it is going to be you actually physically going there, walking around the house, making sure it's all good to go. Scheduling the open house. There's not much that goes on with scheduling it. You're just sort of putting it in the calendar and letting your team know. So we could automate the part of letting the team know, but what's that going to save us? 5 minutes? Not really a huge deal. So we'll just say, no, we're not going to automate that. The marketing material, we can absolutely automate that. If you have, templatized brochures or different things, you can have AI just sort of fill in the different spots that are specific to your home or to your neighborhood. List the home on the MLS. This really depends on your market area and the MLS that you're using. You can integrate with most MLSs, but you do have to have special privilege and special access. So you have to apply for that, and you have to usually pay an additional cost for that. There are tools that really help with it, such as repliers.io. Shout out to them because they are a great tool that you can use to integrate with different MLSs. But like I said, you still have to do your own application, tell them what it is that you're using for their integration, and pay a fee as well. So although we do this for other clients of ours in our automation business, we're going to say for our own particular business, we are not going to automate it because, you know, I'm doing this example as if I were mapping this out for my own business, not for a client's business. Promoting on social media, that absolutely can be automated. Ordering lawn signs, again, this depends on the company you're using and their specific system. So let's say, no, we're not going to automate that. Sending the seller showing reports, that can totally be automated. Analyzing offers and presenting them, this can be automated as well. But I think this is maybe something that should be left to the realtor. It's a bit more personal and a bit more of kind of a crucial part of the entire system that has a lot of emotion involved for the seller. So I would say that maybe the realtor should stick to doing this one themselves. Ongoing marketing, of course, that can all be automated. Updating your CRM, yes, that can be automated. Now we got the pending stage. So what happens here? We're sending the seller a congratulations email. Absolutely, that can be automated. We're sending all the documents to the mortgage and the lawyers. That can totally be automated, assuming that this information is in your CRM, like the mortgage person's email and the lawyer's emails. Once the status in your CRM changes to pending, then you can have the AI send all of the documents to the mortgage people and the lawyers from there using the information that's in your CRM. Update the status on the MLS. We're going to say no, we're not going to do that, although you can. Like my specific area that I sell real estate in, you can do it online, or you can just email the MLS board and they'll do it for you. So I could automate the whole process of just emailing them, but it's not going to save me a ton of time, so no big deal. Posting pending to social media, yep, that can be automated. Send your documents into your brokerage. Depends on your system, but for my particular system, yes, we can automate that. And updating your CRM, yes, we can automate that as well. Now we're gonna go up to property sold here. So we're gonna send a congratulations email. Yes, that can be automated. We're gonna order them a gift basket for delivery. Depends where you're ordering from, but I'm sure you can set up something with a particular company or maybe a local company where you just send them an email and say, hey, I need a gift basket delivered to this address on this date, and they'll have your payment stuff on file so you can automate that whole part of it. Sending the final docs to the lawyers, that can be automated. Submit final docs to the brokerage, yes, that can be automated. Posting on social media, yes. Sold sticker on the lawn sign, obviously that cannot be automated. It's not a digital thing like we talked about. Ordering the lawn sign to come down, again, depends on your particular system. But since we did not automate ordering the lawn signs, we are not going to automate them coming down. And then the CRM, yes, we can automate that. Great. Now let's go up to possession day, and we're gonna look at handing over the keys. No, obviously not, we can't automate that. Sending one final congratulations email to the seller, yes, we can automate that. Thank you email to the agent and ask for a review. Yes, we can automate that. And updating the CRM. Yes, we can automate that. Now I might be going a little bit fast here and you might be thinking, well, I don't know how the heck you determine whether you can automate these things. I mean, I know we have these rules here, but it's still confusing. Okay, so I'm gonna help you break it down a little bit here. If it's something to do with just a simple communication email, 99% of the time you can 100% automate it. There are many different ways to personalize emails to a specific client or a specific transaction based off of the information that's in your CRM. So a lot of the stuff that you are going to automate is going to be dependent on what CRM you're using, how active you are on actually updating that CRM with the particular information, and then what type of information that CRM will share with integration and automation platforms like Make.com or Zapier. There are some CRM platforms that allow you to do 1,000,001 different integrations. Follow Up Boss is really good for that. Lofty is pretty good for that. Pipedrive is really good for that. And there's many others as well. They allow you to access pretty much every single part of your CRM. So your clients, the client notes, the transactions, the statuses, contact lists, anything that's in your CRM, they allow integrations to access that information. And if you know how to use, these platforms like Make.com or Zapier, as well as maybe their custom API of the CRM that you're using, then the possibilities are nearly endless, because now you're connecting your CRM, which is your database of all the info about your client and your transaction. You're connecting that to your email or to your text or to your AI agent in some way, so that those two things can communicate with each other and share information. Just like if you were to have an assistant or an admin person who you want to be sending out these congratulations emails and these checklists and buyer seller packages and all these different things, they're gonna have to go into your CRM, find the particular client, get their email, get the address of the property they're selling, gather all that information, and they're probably gonna be going to the CRM to get it. When you automate these things, you're pretty much doing the same thing, but rather than your assistant actually going and logging into the CRM, you're using what's called an API to essentially go through the back door of the CRM to get all that same information. Now we're just gonna finish up here with the post client part of it, and then I'm gonna show you how to find out where that API of your CRM is located if you need to use it, how to use it, and how to determine if your CRM is something that could be integrated with. So the post client, we're sending market updates. Yes, that can be totally automated. We're sending happy birthday and Christmas emails. Yep, that can be automated as well. We're sending them a text to leave a Google review. Absolutely. And we're asking them for referrals every now and then. That can be automated as well. So now when we look at our entire business here, of all the different steps that we laid out, look at how much of this is green. And remember, green means it can be automated and AI can be used to streamline the process. Look at how much of this is green. And like I've said in almost all of my YouTube videos, AI is not going to be replacing real estate agents, but it is going to be enhancing their business and enhancing their client experience by automating a lot of these repetitive, monotonous, or maybe behind the scenes tasks that is not client facing. Because the stuff that you as a real estate agent should be focusing on is the client facing stuff that is either going to get you more deals or service your client better. So now that we've laid this out, now we want to know how to determine whether or not your different tools can be integrated with. Because number 4 here is, does it require a specific tool? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you need to determine if that specific tool can be integrated with. So first off, what does it mean to be able to integrate with a tool? Well, software tools use what's called an API. An API is essentially the digital way of being able to access all the different functions that a software tool has to offer. And it allows you to access these functions in a way that doesn't require you to actually be clicking the mouse and typing on the keyboard. So one way to think about this would be like the Gmail app. Normally to send an email, you have to go to your Gmail app and you have to type out the email and then you have to click the send button. But if you're using the Gmail API, then that allows you to digitally create and send an email without ever actually having to go to the Gmail app and type it and press send. It just all happens sort of in the background of the computer. 99% of all email platforms allow you to access via an API. The majority of social media platforms allow you to as well, although the different social media platforms have different capabilities in terms of what you can do. Just because there's an API doesn't mean you can access every single function. Sometimes they limit it to only a small amount. Sometimes they limit it to only specific functions within a tool. Every single API is different and it just depends on what that tool wants to allow you to access. But like I said, the main one here that really matters is your CRM. Because as I'm sure you've experienced in your own business, your CRM is almost like the digital heart of your business. It's what contains the statuses of all your transactions, all of your client information, all of their property information. It tells you who needs to be emailed, who needs to be nurtured, who needs to be attended to. It tells you how productive your team is being, on and on and on. Your CRM is super important, and it's equally as important when you want to integrate, because it's what gives all of your other tools and all of your different AI systems important information in order to be able to do the tasks that you're wanting it to do. So whatever your CRM is, here is the steps that I would be taking in order to figure out, can my CRM be integrated with, and if so, to what extent? First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to make.com. This is the automation platform that I like to use. You can also go to Zapier, but for this video, we're gonna be working in make.com. I'm just gonna create a new scenario here, and I'm gonna hit the plus button, and I'm just gonna look for my CRM, right? So let's say I'm using Follow Up Boss. Great, they have a Follow Up Boss one here, and then you can see all of the different triggers and actions that you can do inside of make.com. Now, if you're wanting to do something that you don't see here, that doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means that make.com has not created the specific sort of button or module to do that specific task. You can still go look in their API documentation to see if that specific task is something that you can do, which I'll show you here in one sec. But normally the most common things that people are doing with that API will be in here as a preset module. And if it is already in here, it makes your life way easier because you don't have to worry about analyzing the API documentation, figuring it out, getting super technical, all that stuff. So let's say that I'm using Follow Up Boss. We can scroll through here and we can see all the different things that we can do. So for example, we can get a contact. So it retrieves the contact details specified by the ID. We can create a new contact. We can update a contact. We can delete a contact. We can also search through the tasks. We can do things with calls and call logs. We can do things with our deals, right? We want to get a new deal. We want to watch for new deals, update deals, create deals. There's a lot of different things. This is why I said Follow Up Boss is one of those CRMs that is very easy to integrate with. Another one, let's go back, is Pipedrive. Pipedrive has a ton of different things that you can do inside of it. Same thing, you can edit your organizations, your people, your contacts, your deals, your products, all these different things that you can do inside of here. So step one that I would do is just to go to make.com, search to see if the module is in there. If it's not, you can also try going to Zapier and search there. Zapier does have more modules than make.com has, although I find that make.com is just easier to use, more powerful once you know how to use it. But yeah, step one, go to Make or Zapier and search to see if your CRM has already been integrated with. Now, if you can't find it on here, then the next step is to see if that CRM has an open API. You can do this just by simply Googling the name of the CRM plus open API, and usually it'll pop up that way. You can also go to the website, usually go to the very bottom at the footer, and there's usually something that says like developer or API or something like that in, usually very small text. You can look for that as well. But I'm going to show you an example here. So let's say, at least where I'm from, there's a CRM called Sierra that a lot of agents use. And let's say that I'm using that. I look on here, there's no Sierra. Okay, so make.com does not have this Sierra module. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type in Sierra CRM Open API. And the very first thing that pops up is compatible real estate software integrations. That might be what we're looking for. The next thing, Sierra Interactive API documentation. That is almost certainly what we're looking for. But let's click the first one just so I can show you an example here, because a lot of times CRMs will have pages that show the integrations, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have an open API, because they might integrate with other tools, but they don't give you the API access. So we clicked on here, we got real estate software integrations. We're going to scroll down and you can see it just shows a bunch of different tools. Now, all this is saying that if you have our CRM, if you use Sierra Interactive, you can connect your SendGrid, your BombBomb, your Twilio. You can connect all these different things inside of the CRM platform itself, not actually a open API for using make.com or Zapier. So this is not the page we want. We're going to go back. Next one, Sierra Interactive API documentation. Great. This is exactly what we're looking for. If it's your first time looking at API documentation, it is going to look super technical and like an entirely different language, which it kind of is, because it is sort of like computer code. It's less technical, but it's basically like JSON code, or sometimes like curl or Python or different codes. If you don't know how to work with API documentation and how to use APIs, your best friend is going to be ChatGPT. You can usually, I'm going to emphasize usually, you can usually copy and paste the URL of the API documentation, give it to ChatGPT, and then ask it a question of like, how do I do this specific thing that I'm trying to do, or how do I integrate this specific thing? And it should be able to help you, although it's not perfect. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time explaining API documentation because it is technical. And that's one of the things that my AI development company does for other real estate agents, is integrating these specific APIs that are more complicated to integrate so that they can do specific automations in their business. But on the left here, you can see these are kind of all like the different actions that you can do with this API. So using Sierra's API, it allows you to add lead tasks, update them, remove them, find users, get phone calls, add property views, find agents, retrieve saved listings, add saved listings, all these different things that you can do, add a new lead, all of that. So this is exactly what we're looking for. We've found that yes, Sierra does have an open API. So therefore we know that there is a possibility of integrating with our CRM so that we can extract client data, transaction data, and that kind of stuff, and automate all the rest of the stuff that we wanted to do, like sending emails and doing all that. So that is an overview of how to map out your entire real estate business and how to figure out what can or cannot be automated. So remember, map out each different stage that goes from the very beginning of when you're trying to acquire a new lead all the way past when you've helped them buy or sell their house, and continue on after that of the ongoing communication. Then you want to map out each individual stage that happens under that heading, and then you want to be asking yourself for each stage, is it something that's repetitive? Is it digital? Is it time consuming? And does it require a specific tool? And chances are, if the answer to 2 or 3 or 4 of these is yes, it can probably be automated. And if you're not sure, then go to make.com or Zapier, see if that specific tool that you have to use is already integrated there. And if not, then go to Google or go to that specific tool's website and see if you can find API documentation to figure out if that tool can be integrated with. From here, if you want to sort of continue your learning and figure out how to do the actual automations, the very first place that I would recommend starting is just go to Google and type in make.com Academy. And make.com has their own academy. It's totally free. It's very, very easy to work through. Each module is, less than an hour, but it shows you how to use all the different tools, how to use the platform, kind of lets you build different test scenarios. And it really, really gives you a good grasp of the platform itself and will allow you to just get the fundamentals and the basics down so that you can teach yourself how to build out these different automations. And then if you want to take it a step further and do AI agents to do some of these things for you, because remember, some of these are just automated workflows and some of these are actually, you got to bring in AI, like an AI agent, to do these things for you. Because not all of these require AI intelligence. Some of it is just kind of a template that you're swapping in dynamic data like first names and addresses and things like that. But other things do require AI intelligence to actually analyze the situation, maybe write up an entire email, or to use its AI brain to figure out what the best course of action here is. So if that's the case and you want to start learning how to build AI agents, I would recommend starting with N8N. N8N is sort of like make.com, but it has a lot more AI capabilities. So that is my preferred platform for building AI agents, and I highly recommend that you start there. If automating different parts of your business with automated workflows and AI agents is of interest to you and you are in the real estate space, my link for my calendar is in the description below. Feel free to book a call with me and my team. We can hop on a call, we can map out your business just like we did here and figure out what can be automated, how much time can we save you, where is an automated workflow handy versus an AI agent, which one should you be using? We can discuss the entire thing. The call is totally free, usually takes about 45 minutes to an hour, but I promise you, you'll be leaving that call with a much clearer picture on how you can be using the latest and greatest technology that we have at our fingertips to make your business smoother, more productive, more profitable, and just more enjoyable all around. Plus, at the same time, servicing your clients better, which is priority number one. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate any love that you can give me. It just helps YouTube push out my videos to more and more real estate agents and real estate professionals. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate the love. And other than that, we will see you in the next video.